World Cyber Games 2007. This is DJ Rome bringing you some CNC action from cyberspace 2. Joining me is our man with the master plan, Django. How you doing, brother?
Very good. Happy to be here, Rance. We've got a Nod versus Nod matchup here, DG versus Hauntspy on Tournament Dust Bowl. What do you think we can expect to see on this map from these players and from this race?
You know, from these players playing Nod, this is a very interesting strategy coming from the European player as well as the Brazilian himself. Both of these players qualified first coming into this matchup. DeathGun obviously coming from Brazil and Hauntspy coming from Italy. This is a very interesting tournament map as well. Dust Bowl features many opportunities to expand. But I think the most common strategy that we're going to see here, Django, is a Shadow Team rush. Ooh, and this could be happening right now from the lower side. Let's check out some fogs of war here from the various players drawing the top side. That's DeathGun right there. Hauntspy draws the lower side, and he's got the most interesting. He's got the most interesting strat happening right now, Django, because you can see Shadow Team units coming out right away. So he's going to try a stunt here. He's going to try the Shadow Team rush right here. And so we'll have to keep our eyes open and see if we can do it. Now, we do have Shadow Teams coming out from DeathGun as well, mid-map in the pink. So let's see who strikes first as the Shadow Teams do start heading up to the north side of the map here. You can see them queuing up down here and out back. They typically like to focus on power plants and such, but there are also some Shadow Team units in varying spots out here in the middle of the map as well, Django. So I wonder who's going to do the strikes first. There's the Shadow Team striking the north side, taking down the power plant right there. And that's a pretty devastating blow, but it's not something that doesn't have a counter at this point.
Looks like DeathGod, the first one to strike here against Hauntspy's main base, using those Shadow Teams, dropping the power plant. But I'm curious as to what DeathGod is going to do with his own Shadow Teams that are heading down the middle of the map. So far, no action from them whatsoever. It looks like they're in his main base, Hauntspy's main base right now, taking down that barracks. Harvester on their way after, but unfortunately for Nod, their Harvester can't do any damage to anything.
Shadow Team's kind of on the north side here. They did back off just a little bit, so now that the power plants are down, slows down production just a little bit. Now we see the first vehicles coming out from the north side of the map. This is DeathGun's point of view over here, and you can see him striking, running into a little bit of opposition down low with his Shadow Teams as well. Now Shadow Teams running in from Hauntspy, running into these buggies right here, and that's actually bad news for these units here, because the buggy's very good against Shadow Teams. You can see Shadow Team after Shadow Teams going down. Now simultaneously, bottom of the map here, we can see Shadow Team strikes on the power plant as well. So we see very similar counters coming out from both players. You've got a motorcycle and a Raider buggy coming out down low as well. Now, economy, major concern for Hauntspy right now. He doesn't really have much of one at this point. You can see the buggies chasing down the Shadow Teams from up top. So I would say that initial rush is now thwarted from DeathGun. Hauntspy himself also has been thwarted with his Shadow Teams. Now we're going to see first expansion taking place at Hauntspy's base down low here. He is expanded to the far southeast side. He's also going to sneak a couple of vehicles down low over here. You can see vehicles coming up from DeathGun that are going to have to retreat, because now there are 4 Scorpion tanks on the east side of the map. We now have militant squads in the base down low as well, but the big story here is finally the expansions taking place, and just mild harassment here, Django. This is a very even matchup, and these guys are starting to use very similar strats. Rocket soldiers up the gut there, buddy. Give me some thoughts on what you think they're going to do with these rocket squads.
Well, we've got an MCV on the way down south from DeathGod up top, but those rocket soldiers are going to completely ignore it, instead going after the harassing buggy. Actually, those are DeathGod's own rocket soldiers. It looks like he does have a bit of line of sight down onto Hauntspy's base from the top there. He's got a lot of infantry possibly going to head down. He does have his expansion up as well as DeathGod, so both players now have an economy firing off. They're going to be gaining technology very soon, and it looks like we've actually finally got the secret shrine, the permanent one, so we might be mass producing those shadow teams now instead of only a few squads of them. Also, Scorpion tanks coming out from the top. DeathGun, he's out of power. Hauntspy down below is slightly worse off as far as economy goes, struggling just a bit to keep above 0. The Scorpion tanks now ravaging the MCV of DeathGun, but rocket soldiers all over the place, taking them down one by one. Scorpion tanks as well from DeathGun coming in from the north. That MCV is planted, giving it some more armor against vehicles, and those rocket soldiers just tearing apart the offending Scorpion tanks.
Yeah, that was nice micro of the MCV unit there to throw it down before it got taken down. And excellent work here, massing these level 1 tanks now. Scorps, we've got about 12 of them sitting mid-map, but the real story, I think, is definitely the infantry here that is now creating the line in the very front. This MCV from the top side heading over to eventually expand right here. You can see the tip factory, the refinery was in queue right there, ready to go. Now it looks like the top nod player, that's DeathGun, is going to take this rather large force here directly down the east side of the map. Let's see what happens there. Major run-in over here with Scorp tanks as well on the far west side of the map, as they're going to engage this MCV right here and try to take down the construction yard for this expansion. Now we've got plenty of rocket soldiers attacking from the east side down to the south side of the base. And this is very bad news for Hauntspy here. I don't think he was expecting that. I think he was in over here with the Scorp, so now he's going to have to make some type of counter to these rocket soldiers. And as of yet, no base defense is going up. So these Rocketeers here are going to keep blowing on down, and these Scorpions up here from Hauntspy are going to keep attacking this expansion on the west side. I think this is a little bit more risky down here, Django, with these rocket soldiers down here. I think they can probably do more damage than simply attacking this expansion here to the west.
It's push and pull, but it looks like Hauntspy has his stuff together now. He does have shredder turrets that's going to take down the infantry very quickly. He was using his harvesters to run over a couple of the rocket soldiers, but it looks like it's too little too late. And another harvester about to go down, courtesy of the rocket soldiers from Hauntspy. We've got some more Scorpion tanks attacking DeathGun's west expansion. East expansion relatively untouched, so in quite a convenient location, those Tiberium refineries barely have to remove the harvesters to gain resources at all. But the Scorpion tanks now done with the western expansion of DeathGun, now making their way north and taking away what little is left of the structures over there.
I couldn't believe he didn't finish off this one harvester over here, Django. He decided to micro his other units over. So now these Scorpions making some pretty good progress here, but there are plenty of rocket soldiers over here, so a pretty heavy infantry strat here coming from DeathGun, and he's got a lot of rocket soldiers coming on down to the west side here to fend off the Scorp rush. Both players still doing all right. Nobody's in especially huge trouble, but the economy definitely a large concern for Hauntspy down low. You can see his power is down, and he's got only just a couple of harvesters getting him some income. MCV now on the move on the bottom side of the base too. It could be just coming in here towards the middle. We'll see what he ends up doing down here. Let's switch it up to the fog of war of DeathGun, and you can see all of the infantry now headed in, and this could be a GG here very soon. DeathGun is going to get the best of Hauntspy when these infantry units finally make their way in. He's finally got his counter out of the militant squads here, but it's almost too little too late. As all these buggies going to get thrashed by the rocket soldiers in mass. We'll see if these infantry units. Do you think these 6 infantry units are going to be able to take out all the rocket soldiers?
Not a chance. Look at those Scorpion tanks there, as well as DeathGun's use of the catalyst missile to take down a lot of harvesters around his primary expansion. Took down a lot of those infantry units as well. It's a wave of pink units down from the north, just going to roll over all of Hauntspy's units so far. I see no end to this, and DeathGun's economy sees no end to it either.
Yeah, it's way too strong here in Hauntspy. He's in full turtle mode. This is going to be a GG very shortly here, as now the command center being focused on by the rocket soldiers. And there's the GG coming out from Hauntspy. DeathGun is victorious here in group play at World Cyber Games 2007, and he will gain himself 1 point in his group. Congratulations on the victory here. This was a pretty interesting strat and a pretty common one for the Nod race. You tend to see sometimes infantry rushes to counter all of those Scorpions.
It's curious them actually using Nod. Skrin has become a lot more popular now since they've been patched, and a lot of their units have been buffed up. Harvesters, they're all equal now, so there's no real economy advantage anymore. But still, a surprise to see Nod in a fast game. And we see the resources per minute here, 17,670 for Death God versus a paltry 7,752 for Hauntspy. And that just proves the difference between these two players here, Rance.
Yeah, 17,000 is, I don't know if that's enough to get through the bracket there, Jingo. You need to see one around 20,000 if you're going to hang with the Americans. So, DeathGun, the closest one yet to the skill of the top couple of Americans here with the best economy, and obviously Haunspy's economy got shut down very early in the game. Let's check out the units count. You can see the infantry spam coming out right at the end there, spiking the unit count, structure unit count as well by building so many infantry units, and the resources just kept climbing as the harvesters went down. All right, we'll have some more here from the cyber stage later on today. We've got FIFA and Dead or Alive 4 here on the cyber stage. We're going to take a break for about half hour, and we'll be right back.